a lot of different occasions. I think it was in the second episode of Serpent's Lair. I found myself in a glider with Richard, and that was quite amusing. Simply because there was nothing. We were there for hours, literally bolted in, and so started singing show tunes. And neither of us sing very well. I don't know how that started, but and then there's Chris. Chris is Chris. And although he pretty much always spared me, but there were set rules like never be downwind of Chris after lunch.
This is your body language for Chris.
Can
Ready?
you clear that one up quick?
And he was shameless. He was just notorious. When they say, when you work together for a long time, it ends up being a family. So that's the good news and the bad news sometimes, because, it was, there was just a lot of laughing. The other one is, I believe it was Alexis. It was one of his first shows, and they put him in the reanimator. They put him in the sarcophagus, and he was there, and he thought it was rather a long time that he was there, and he sort of peeked out, and they broke for lunch, and they just sort of left him, but it was all in good fun. The good thing about doing a show that long is that eventually you sort of, people who don't like being around the people or any of a number of other reasons, they sort of get weeded out. So it makes for a very agreeable place to work, and it was, So it truly was probably, the most enjoyable job I've ever done, because you could go back and you knew if someone was having a bad day, if someone was, and what was interesting being recurring, I don't know if Gary had this feeling, is, there are long hours for these folks, for the regulars. So you go back the first season, and everything was great. Everyone was great. The second season, so-and-so was having a little trouble. You go back, later on, and so-and-so was fine. This person was having that trouble. And so everyone got to roast, and you were allowed sort of one snit a season you were allowed. Beyond that you were different. But you were a good snit, so really let it loose. Refer back to other episodes, just really go for it. And they were truly a good group of people. So.
Well, I always found them to be wonderful. Like Don Davis and myself were friends for 30 years. Loved Don and Richard Dean. We worked together in MacGyver way back in the 80s.
Right.
And that was when Don was Dana's stand-in on the show, and then he became a stunt double, and then he was doing stunting for Dana, and then he got into bigger and better roles, and then he got into Stargate as Gentleman Hammond, and it was just a wonderful thing because he was, this is the greatest job I've ever had. I tell you what, I've done a lot of things. I've worked in college and been in the Army, but I love this acting and I love all the people in it. I think I'll do this for the rest of my life. I just never forget. I always start off, grr. If I had your money, I'd burn mine. I always like that. He's always going on about money, but and Richard Dean, from back in for the same thing, and all those people, we'd worked with for like 30 years, nearly 30 years. Like Richard, Don Davis, John Smith, who was executive producer. I used to work with on Beachcombers back when, and Michael Greenberg, the same thing. All of them have been around, and Sam from Outer Limits, and when we used to do Outer Limits way back when, and it was like, when you went onto that set, it wasn't like going on to okay, here we go, boom, boom, boom. It was, don't get me wrong, Stargate was a machine. I mean, the way that they produced, the way that they got their days, and they were absolutely the consummate professionals.
They were, yeah.
Every one of them just bam, 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 bam. You knock out those shots and no fuss, no muss. The crew was fantastic. But the greatest thing is, as a recurring, I come in there and it was like, hey, it's the family, long lost relative. You show up and it's like, it's great. Everybody's glad to see you and welcome to see you, and Amanda and all the crew there. Just fantastic. I wish it would come back. I got to tell you.
Yeah.